Thank you for joining us here at Lowry Sports Rhetoric. I am your host, Nathan, and this is
Daimon.
and we are going to do a mock draft. Damon's going to give his mock draft, and obviously for the first 3 rounds only. We aren't going to go a whole 7 because ain't nobody got time for that. So, with that said, Damon, go ahead and kick this off here.
All right, so with my mock draft, first pick of the draft. So no trades. I think there's going to be a ton of trades because there always are, but
Absolutely, it's hard to do. Hard to predict that.
it's stupid if you start anticipating trades and all that stuff. So just trying to do it. Did my best on trying to figure out team needs and that kind of thing. So we're doing the draft based on that, based on where they're at, not with involving trades. So first pick, Jacksonville Jaguars. I have them taking Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan.
I think that's a very likely pick.
Seems very likely. Second pick, this one was kind of tougher. A lot of good players with specific needs for the Lions, but in the end, I just went best player available and went Kayvon Thibodeau from Oregon.
Uh, I probably would disagree with you on that one. As a Ducks fan, I actually feel like he's going to slip a little bit. I'm not sure that he's going to go that high, but the Detroit Lions have a history of taking people a little high, so I could kind of really say he does got a lot of hype about him.
Yeah, I think the end is like the other options. I don't see them taking a quarterback that early.
No.
The other thing they need, the corner. They took a corner last year in the top 5, so I don't see them going back-to-back years to taking a corner in the top 5. That doesn't make sense.
No.
And I mean, I guess I could have took a wide receiver here, but I don't think there's a wide receiver that justifies the second overall pick.
No.
So that pretty much just left me with Thibodeau.
Yeah, I guess I could see that. They did get Sui Pinnell, so that they don't need to be getting that either. So,
Right. Right.
I mean, sure. I guess I could see it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I honestly, before I started going through all the needs and stuff, I didn't think I'd have Thibodeau number 2 either. But when I did, he's the one that made the sense.
Unfortunately, I didn't see him going that high, but I could definitely see, like I said, Detroit does tend to kind of overreach on things. So, hey, and it definitely makes sense from a need standpoint. So,
I mean, the reality is they're just hoping that Jacksonville grabs anybody other than Hutchinson so they can get the hometown boy. I mean, that's what they're...
Absolutely. Don't see it.
All right, so then next, third pick, Houston Texans, Evan Neal, Alabama. Offensive line help. Add him to Tunsil or move him to guard. You got the start of a really good offensive line.
Totally agree. I think that would be a great pick.
Now here's the Jets. So I have them taking Trevin Walker from Georgia.
Yeah.
So
definitely a good pick there.
The Giants, I have offensive tackle Akeem Olaniwu from North Carolina State.
Okay.
So I had him as the number 2 tackle on board, and they need offensive line help. So
Sure. I could definitely see that
happening. Now here's that when we talk trades though, that's where the trade's gonna happen, right? Because that's why New Orleans got that second first round pick so that they can package those, trade up and get the quarterback. But anyway, because number 6, I have the Carolina Panthers taking Malik Willis.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
And that's where I think that's exactly what the Saints are thinking, which is why they picked up those extra picks, and they're going to try to trade for him. That's what I think. But we weren't going to do that for this draft. So
I think as it stands, I think that he would be a good pick there. Malik Willis, yeah, definitely
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 7, the Giants. I got taking Ahmad Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati.
I definitely think that that's a good possibility. What a stud.
He's really good player.
I mean, I definitely think that would help them a lot, and it sounds like a Giants kind of a pick. So.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and I mean they get the offensive tackle, they get the corner, so yeah, it makes sense. For the Falcons, to me this might be a reach, but it makes sense to me. I got Kenny Pickett from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I agree that it is a little bit of a reach, but they have Marcus Mariota as their quarterback.
Well, and you know what I was thinking about too when I was looking at team needs and looking at the board and everything. I remember during the college football season when I told you that I felt like Kenny Pickett was very Matt Ryan-like, and I compared him to Matt Ryan when we were watching Pittsburgh games.
Sure.
So I thought that their scouting department, their front office might look at that and go, all right, we got the next Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that as far as quarterbacks are concerned, he should be the number 2, and I have a feeling that that's what the Falcons are going to go for. I mean, I don't see how they can get away from this draft without doing that. So I totally agree with you. I think that that's a good fit for where it's at, for sure.
For this next pick, Seattle Seahawks, going to give a little shout out to our Uncle Tom, because I had him in my head when I picked this. Offensive tackle, Charles Cross from Mississippi State.
Great pick.
All he wants is the improved offensive line for the Seattle Seahawks. This will do that job.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at it, reality for a Seahawks fan isn't the future doesn't look extremely bright. So I agree with you. I think if you're gonna go ahead and do this, you're not winning a bunch of games with Drew Lock. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. Retool your line, go after a guy in a future draft where there's better draft picks for quarterbacks. I couldn't agree more, and I think Cross is a great. He's going to be a great addition to that team. I think that's a good pick.
All right, number 10, New York Jets. I got Derek Stingley Jr.
Sure.
From LSU.
Yeah, I mean, another stud. I mean, he is, and you know what? The Jets have done a lot to improve their team, and I think this is a great addition. You got to have somebody to be on that side of the ball and make plays, and I think that that's fantastic. Yeah, I totally agree. Great fit.
Now for the Commanders, with the 11th pick, I got them taking. We're going to give your old buddy Carson Wentz there some help and take wide receiver Garrett Wilson from Ohio State.
Yeah.
Top wide receiver on the board.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense. You got a team that pretty much looks great on defense, looks terrible on offense. Yeah, I mean, you got to do something like that, and I agree. Probably the best player available at that position, and just a stud. And if they're smart, it is the Commanders. If they're smart, they will go this route, but it's the Commanders.
I know this next one hurt me a little bit personally. Minnesota Vikings, number 12. Hurts, but they tend to do this to me. Edge Jermaine Johnson from Florida State.
Oh.
And they do tend to take Florida State players up there in Minnesota. Break my heart as a Bears/Florida State fan, because I love this kid, and I will hate watching him chasing around fields.
I got to be honest with you, totally agree with this too as well. I think you got a good thing going here. I think he's a great fit for what they need, and we talked about him before when I was looking at players, which obviously the Colts ain't in the top, but I fell in love with him watching him play, and I could definitely see the same thing where if Houston, for example, ends up with Thibodeau, I don't want that. If Jacksonville ends up with Thibodeau, I don't want that. So I could definitely understand the
well, they've done it. Like Cook, Rhodes.
Yeah.
There's been several of them over the years. They constantly grab my Florida State guys.
Yeah. But he would be a great fit there, and I think unfortunately for the Bears, that would be a very good, good pick.
Yeah. So speaking of Houston, Texas, this is their second pick of the first round. I have them taking corner Trent McDuffie from Washington.
Yeah, I could see it. It's really hard when you're talking about a team that basically needs about everything. It's really difficult. I don't know. I feel like maybe he could go a little further down the draft, but I don't know. I guess he'd be a good fit. I don't know.
So for
they
me,
need so many people, man. That team is so just like.
For me, corner was a big need of theirs, and this is actually where what I had as projections for guys. This is about where I had him projected, so it kind of makes sense.
Okay. I mean, personally, I think that they'd probably go wide receiver, but I don't know. Without looking at it, I guess maybe the wide receiver wouldn't fit right there. But
yeah, no. I actually, you're probably right. There's a decent chance I go wide receiver there. This is part of what my thinking was too, though. I'm glad you said that, because this is what I was thinking. I think corner and wide receiver are the two needs they had. My thought would be the corners available when they pick in the second round are not on McDuffie's level.
Okay.
Where the wide receivers in the second round probably are.
Good point.
I don't know that Houston will think that way, but that's how I was thinking when I made the pick.
Yeah, they make some funny decisions. So they probably will go with a punter. We'll have to see.
You would love it if they went with a punter in the first.
Yeah.
All right. So Baltimore Ravens. I feel like they always just think about defense. Yeah. So Devontae Wyatt from Georgia is, just another in a long line of great Ravens defenders. I felt like he seems like a Raven.
He sure does.
So I thought that was the right spot for him.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of your best picks yet, and I agree with that. I think that's a good fit for him.
Well, the other thing too, at this point, he was starting to get to where he's falling a little bit from his projection.
Sure. Yeah,
so it was also a good value pick.
Yeah, I think it's realistic from the other picks as well.
So, and then the Philadelphia Eagles, I feel like they're going to go splash here at this point and get the combine guy Jordan Davis. Helps their defense. They had defensive line needs, and he's kind of the spicy guy right now. I see him mocked all the way up to in the top 5, which doesn't make sense. So I felt like here, this makes some sense in the middle of the first round. Get the name that a lot of people are talking about. If the Raiders had a first round pick, I probably would have saved him for them, but they don't. So I thought maybe this is a spot where the Eagles could pull the trigger on that.
Sure, and I think the Eagles fall into that category of kind of. They need so many players. They need so many positions filled.
Yeah.
And who knows how they even feel about their starting quarterback at this point in time. Who knows? But I definitely agree with you. I think that going defense here, best player available, like you said, if he's slipping a little bit, even though he's projected high just because of the need situation, it's probably a really good pick there.
Yeah, that was kind of what I thought. Like you said, they have so many holes that it was like, okay,
best player
that's
available.
the name, that's the splashy pick. Let's do that. Yeah. Okay, so here we have the Saints again. I think if we're talking realistic, they probably are packaging this with the other first-round pick and moving up for a quarterback. But since we didn't do the trades, I gave them Jamison Williams, wide receiver from Alabama, because I think you got to give
Winston.
You got to give my man Winston some targets to throw the downfield to, and this will give him somebody that he can throw the ball downfield to. That's going to win some jump balls, help decrease the interception rate, and still make the big plays that Winston likes to try to make.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes total sense. I agreed with you that most likely it's going to be a trade down to try to get a quarterback, but if they don't and everything falls the way that it's planned out, I can see them using a wide receiver for sure, and that dude is a stud, and he will give Mr. 30 for 30 a heck of a target.
Yeah, for sure. Next up, your second team, the Chargers, and your boy Justin. We're going to help him out and give him the nastiest offensive lineman in this draft, Trevor Penning from Northern Iowa.
Oof.
Anybody touches your boy, he will kill them.
Yeah.
That's just what the guy does.
Guy's a stud. He is a stud, and I love it.
He's crazy as well. He's nasty, and I think the Chargers could use a little nasty.
They could use a little nasty.
So I think it's a perfect fit.
Because even Justin Herbert, as much as I love him, he ain't nasty.
Yeah, it's the perfect fit. They need nasty. They need a left tackle. It's just perfect. It works out great.
I like that pick because it will protect my boy, and I like it.
All right, now we got Philadelphia again on the clock. I gave them wide receiver Drake London from USC.
Oof, such a stud.
So yeah, at this point, best wide receiver on the board. This was another one of those where he's starting to slip out of that projected range.
Totally agree, but again, I agree with the way that you look at some of the stuff going in. Again, he might be one of them people that I see maybe like the Texans going after or something like that.
Sure.
But Drake London is a stud, and wow. Somebody especially it does seem a little bit late to pick him, but as we've talked about, the talent it's so deep in talent that it is interesting. But yeah, I think that's a great pick there, and I do think that's a good value there at that pick as well. Going to be a good wide receiver.
Now here's the next one, New Orleans Saints. Again, this probably won't be their pick, but since they have the extra first round pick, this is a guy that's mocked in the top 5 in a lot of drafts. Kyle Hamilton for Notre Dame, safety. Falling down the board, I couldn't find a team that I felt like it would make sense for them to go safety. New Orleans needs a safety. They're retooling that. They've always had stud safeties, it feels like.
Yeah, and I think it's just a testament to really how talented this draft is at all different positions here at the front, especially because he is a stud, and it's man, to slip this far even. But it does make sense, and like you said, talking about it makes sense, man.
Yeah.
He would fit very good in with their system, that's a good pick. That's a damn good pick.
All right, now Pittsburgh Steelers. This feels like a really Steelers kind of pick. Wide receiver Chris Olave from Ohio State. I mean, they've had Ohio State receivers. They like those burners that run down the field stretching guys. He covers that for them. I just feel like that's, and I think he's a great compliment to your boy Claypool that you're a big fan of. This gives him the ability to be like the possession guy, the number one target, while Olive is a fantastic number. That's a pair there. We'll find out if Mitch can play or not if with those two guys.
Yeah, they need a lot too. I know that they're big on safety. I know that's something that they definitely talked about. They went and focused on the honey badger, who they might still end up with. Who knows even what's going to happen.
It seems like that's a good chance.
It does seem like it. I don't know, like, without looking at it again, I don't know who the top safety is at that right now that you have on your list. But I would probably see them leaning towards that. But again, like you said, I mean, you ain't going to go wrong adding Chris Olave.
No.
So, anyways, yeah, I think that's a likely. Again, I would probably lean towards safety, but I definitely see the wide receiver there too as well.
All right. Well, here's the other thing too. He's mocking like the top 10 in almost everybody's draft. So you're getting a top 10 player at 20. I mean,
I think that at this point in time, you're getting a top 10 player at 30 or 35.
Yeah, it seems that way. There's a lot of top 10 players in this draft. All right, here's another value pickup. New England Patriots. Guard Zion Johnson from Boston College.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes
That's
sense.
a Patriots kind of move, right?
Yes,
I mean, Boston
totally.
College, it's a local guy.
He's good too.
He's really good.
Yeah, he's good.
This is the kind of guy that they get in the first round. They get these offensive linemen. They're going to be there for 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like definitely a Patriots pick. And obviously, do you believe in your quarterback? I'm pretty sure they do at this point in time.
Yeah, so keep him upright.
Keep him upright.
Yeah.
They know how important that is.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think that's a great pick too.
All right, Green Bay. We're gonna get we're gonna assume that they finally got the message that Rodgers wants help in the draft. Okay, and we're gonna give them.
Why did you assume that?
We're gonna well, I mean, it's only been like three off seasons in a row where he's complained about them not giving him help, threatened to leave,
Yeah, like
and then ends up staying.
times.
Right, like.
Okay.
So since his boy Adams left, we're gonna give them a weapon to play with. We're gonna give him Treylon Burks from Arkansas. Best wide receiver I still had on the board at this point for me anyway, and a guy that I think, Rodgers can, turn into an All-Pro, like probably as a rookie.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good pick. But probably depending on what they like in wide receiver, maybe you could go a couple different ones. But I definitely, like you said, I mean, who knows if they got the message or not? But it is something he's been saying. Then they went and just got rid of like one of the best wide receivers. I get it for the cost. You can't I don't know, but
I don't think that was their choice though. I think Adams made that
was
happen.
like, I want to go to the Raiders.
I think Adams made that happen. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I would think that right now you would be looking at it going, we have to. I mean, these are such good wide receivers. Yeah, of course. I think that's a good. It's a good. Definitely position wise, definitely a good choice.
All right, now this next one again. I mean, this is like the theme of this first round, but it's just like the value or the level of talent. So Arizona Cardinals. I'm not even sure this is 100% a need of theirs, but I had Devin Lloyd from Utah still on the board and was like, look, you got to find a place for him. I feel like they are still trying to figure out how to make their defense optimal, and this just adds another super fast, like hard-hitting guy on that defense that you're going to try to figure out how him and Isaiah Simmons can like coexist, but like it just adds another weapon to that defense, and I feel like that's the thing to do.
Favorite player in the draft. Love watching him. I thought he was one of the most entertaining guys.
Sure.
I love his style of play and the aggressiveness that he brings to it. And man, you talk about like just hitting the boys. Man, it's fun to watch this guy play. Like I said, favorite person in the draft. Good for the Cardinals if they did end up getting him here. And again, like you said, I mean, it's crazy to think that a player that's that good could end up here this late in the draft, but there's just so much depth, this talent. I think anybody's going to be happy with any of these picks that have these teams, but oh yeah, just fantastic. Oh man, and you're right, it would reek it would wreak havoc there with Simmons. That would be a great pairing. I think. Would they lose Chandler Jones? Is that who they lost?
Yeah. So maybe you move Simmons
yeah.
over to the Chandler Jones role and let him kind of fill that middle linebacker role.
Oh yeah.
And now you got something to work with there. That's a
together. Those two would be really
nasty. It'd be nasty.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot.
Next up, to me, this was the most obvious. Like, as soon as I looked at the team needs on the draft board, it was like this. It feels like destiny. The Cowboys taking center Tyler Lindenbaum from Iowa. Their center retired. They have a history of first-round draft picks on the line. I think they need to retool their whole line at this point. And this is
crazy
a kid
because they were so good just a couple years ago.
I mean, this kid has been talked about as a number 10 pick for some people as a center because he's supposed to be that good as a center. I just feel like that's the home run. Like, they will do that in a heartbeat and be happy that they got a center to anchor their new line. They had their old line finally that they had built up.
It was so good, too.
And was so good, it kind of fell apart. And now they're ready to redo. And what started that to begin with was drafting a center in the first round. So it's time to retool the new line, and we're going to start with the...
Agreed. I think that's a very Dallas Cowboys way of looking at things. And, Dak Prescott needs that protection. And you already see what happens when he gets hurt. You ain't winning no games. So I think that's a smart decision.
Okay, up next we got the Buffalo Bills. So many holes. It was really hard. Oh, no, never mind. I really felt like they only had like one major hole, and that was corner. So I gave them my best corner available that fit their scheme, which was Andrew Booth from Clemson.
Slam dunk. And yeah, not many needs. This is a team that could benefit from top available player, really. But
yeah.
But I definitely think you're right. Cornerback is probably the weak point for them. If it's a small weak point, but it's a weak point. And the team is so good. Man, Andrew Booth he's a darn good cornerback too, man. Oh yeah. Great pick.
All right, next I got Tennessee Titans. This one I kind of went best player available a little bit. This is sort of a need, but maybe not their biggest need. But I had Nakobe Dean from Georgia still on the board, and felt like he's too good to still be on the board. So I gave him to Tennessee, more as a BPA. I feel like that's another one of those teams that kind of does BPA even if it's not the biggest need. Sure. So I thought that would make sense at this point.
Yeah, I might go a little different direction there, but I could definitely see, like you said, best player available, and he definitely is a good player this late. Good value.
Yeah. And then Tampa Bay Buccaneers, same thing. I mean, a team that doesn't have a ton of needs, but we have George however you say it, Karfaitis from Purdue, the edge, some guy from Purdue. I felt like he was on the board. Add to that defense, give him another pass rusher. I don't think they got a ton of needs anyway, so we're just going to help that defense out, and the offense is in pretty good shape already, so give him another pass rusher.
The second defensive end you got going, or is this the first?
That would be, pure edge. That would be the fourth one, right? Yeah. Fourth one, I think.
Yeah, I guess there's.
Yeah.
He is good. He's a good player. Yeah.
Yeah, most of the mocks have him going in the top 15 somewhere, so to get him at 27 is a great value.
Yeah.
All right, Green Bay Packers. We're going to double dip. We gave him the underneath weapon that you can just hit for runs, and now to stretch the field for him, to give him open space to operate in, we're going to give him Christian Watson from North Dakota State. Because, as soon as those safeties start sucking in to stop Burks underneath, then Rodgers is going over the top to Watson for the touchdown. And we're really making Aaron happy with some weapons. As a Bears fan, I don't know why I'm trying so hard to make Aaron happy. Green Bay's never tried this hard to make Aaron happy. But that's what I'm doing.
Hard to pinpoint where people say that this kid should go. But, man, when you watch him on film, very impressive. And I think he can... I think that dude is a gem, and wish people would overlook him so that it's possible he falls to my Colts in the second round. But I definitely like this kid. He is a stud. If they decide to go that route, Sorry, Bears fans. It's going to be a rough year.
Yeah, it's part of why I thought,
Why not give it to him?
let's give it to Rodgers.
He's going to tear you up.
Let Rodgers win the division again.
He'll retire someday.
We're in rebuild mode anyway. Let Rodgers win another one. Give him some weapons to play with for the first time in his career.
If he got both those wide receivers in the first round, I have a feeling he would actually be happy, which he hasn't been. But who knows? He might not be happy anyway. So.
You never know. I mean, he got paid.
Yeah.
Get paid, get some weapons. He's still happy. He should be happy. All right, now we got the Kansas City double dip at 29 and 30. Okay. Mm-hmm. At 29, I went with corner Kareem Alim from Florida.
Sure.
And then at 30, I went with the Honey Badger replacement, Jalen Petrie from Baylor. Yeah. He's as close to Honey Badger as you're going to find in this draft. Since they clearly aren't keeping Honey Badger, I felt like he can do maybe not everything that Honey Badger can do, but a lot of it. Like Baylor used him in a lot of the same ways that Kansas City used Honey Badger. So I feel like that one was a slam dunk. The hard one was trying to decide what the other one was.
Yeah.
But when I looked at their needs, it just felt like their biggest needs were in the secondary.
Definitely. I think that's absolutely correct. I don't know. I think there's probably a couple cornerbacks that would be interchangeable there at that position. So I'm not quite sure if that would be the one they'd go with. But obviously it's a pick your poison kind of a situation. So it is a good pick. I definitely feel like the safety is much more of a slam dunk, and like you said, I mean, they're not going to bring Honey Badger back. The way that they went about using their secondaries, the way they go about using that, I think that's an important part of their defense, and focusing on that early would definitely be the way to
go. Cincinnati Bengals, young, exciting team.
Fix that line this year.
So I didn't have all the first round linemen are gone at this point.
Sure.
So I went with corner Kyler Gordon from Washington, feeling like, hey, they're gonna win. They gotta win these shootout games, right? Like this is what the AFC's turned into. It's shootout time. So let's give them a corner, and I felt like that was, I think one of their weaknesses last year was their cornerback play was not as good as say some of those other teams have. Sure. When we're talking about the elite teams, all those elite teams of the AFC, that they're one of those, but I feel like they did not have the cornerback play that some of those teams have. So I gave them, that was my best available corner in that spot. So.
Sure. Yeah, and the truth is that they addressed a lot of the offensive problems that they had with the line and free agency.
Yes.
They went out and did that. And exactly. I think focusing on defense would be a super smart decision for them. They have amazing wide receivers. They did lose that tight end. But again, this is probably a little too high for some of even the good tight end. Maybe not, but I really, really don't want him gone off the board yet.
It could be knowing your affinity for that tight end might have influenced this pick for me. I might have, without knowing you, might have went, perfect spot to give him a tight end. But I don't know. I just remember, who was the corner that they had? I can't remember. I can't think of the. I just remember during the playoffs. Eli Apple. Right. So during the playoffs, like, Eli Apple's making all these plays, and it's like, that's their best corner?
Yeah. No,
Eli Apple's their best corner? And nothing against Eli Apple.
He did play good.
Yeah, I mean, he's okay, but he's not a number one corner.
No, he's not.
So to have him be their best corner by, like, easily their best corner, I just felt like that was a big need.
I think it definitely would be a focus right here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right, last pick of the first round, Detroit Lions, Desmond Ridder from Cincinnati.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I could absolutely see it. Goff.
Got to get a quarterback. Goff's not the answer.
He's not the answer.
He's not the answer.
He's my favorite quarterback in the draft. I like Ridder, especially because he does seem like one of the people that you're going to slip a little bit, but he has some value there, and I think he has upside. And I would kind of feel bad for him that he's going to the Lions, if I'm being honest with you, because I like him a lot. But I do think it makes sense, and I think where he's getting picked here in this slot definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
So him or Carson Strong maybe. But man, I would feel bad for Ridder going to the Lions.
Yeah. Nothing to add to that. All right, so start the second round. We got Jacksonville Jaguars. This is partially team need because they have so many, and partially just I couldn't believe this guy was still available in the second round. Daxton Hill from Michigan.
Sure.
safety.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So I mean, that was just like I said, couldn't believe he was still there.
Yeah, he's a good player.
And maybe this is the guy who were we talking about that might need a safety before that you were talking about. You said you didn't know who the safety was. Maybe that's the guy that they pick instead. But was that Tennessee with N'Kobe instead of Kobe Dean? Was that no?
I was just saying that maybe they go a different route, I think. But anyways, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe he would have went earlier at that spot.
Yeah, I mean,
but
again, I mean, like as you go through it, these are all talented players, so it's really difficult. I mean,
it doesn't feel like I've had any super reaches yet, right?
No,
Like it's crazy
no.
that the player we've had so many fall, but nothing that seems like a super reach.
Well, you're just gonna have such good players for so long.
Yeah. All right, so Detroit's back on the clock again already. So I gave them a corner to complement the corner that they drafted last year. I gave them Roger McCreary from Auburn.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely the next available one, and sure, I mean, heck, you go and you, what's the guy's name that they picked last year?
The Ohio State kid. I can't.
Yeah. No, that was Penn State. Was it Ohio State?
I thought it was Ohio State.
Anyways, anyways.
Yeah.
Really good player, and I could see that. You know, you match yourself up with these, and you got to have them to match up against Aaron Rodgers and his two new wide receivers.
Right.
Anyways,
Exactly. Exactly.
I think it's smart when you got two good cornerbacks, though, especially in a division that throws like that. So.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Now we got the Jets on the board. Feel like maybe it's time to give a target to Zach Wilson. So I gave him a wide receiver, Johan Dotson from Penn State.
Okay.
I feel like Johan Dotson's like a better version. He had his buddy at BYU that he like played like his whole life with. That was like the short, fast guy. This like Dotson's like the NFL version of that, right? Like he's that kind of player. So I think maybe he could develop a good chemistry quickly with similar route style, similar receiver. So I felt like that was a good fit. Plus, he was kind of the next guy. Like he was in. It's the right time for him to be going in the draft anyway. If not even like he's probably even some people have him as a first rounder. So early second round, fits the need. I think he could develop chemistry with Wilson because he reminds me a little bit of that guy, like Milner, whatever the guy's name was. Similar kind of wide receiver that he had a lot of success with at BYU. So I thought that seemed like a good pairing.
He's a quick guy.
Oh yeah, speed guy, good route runner.
Yeah, and I think that's
the main knock on him is just his height. Like he's like 5'11", but he's like everything else. He checks all the other boxes other than the height. So.
Yeah, and Wilson excels at putting that ball right there. I mean, he does a beautiful deep ball like that.
Right,
just leads them right where they need
to
be.
That's what I thought. Give him a deep guy. Yeah. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's a good pick there.
The Giants, I have taking linebacker Quay Walker from Georgia.
Sure. Yeah, they got to tool that defense.
Okay, now Houston Texans. So I thought they had three big needs going into the draft. So they needed an offensive tackle. They needed a wide receiver. A corner, not a wide receiver, corner, and a defensive end. So I gave them the other two already. So now the best end I still had available was Boye Mafe from Minnesota.
Sure.
So that just felt like the natural best end left available. And a lot of people have him as a first round grade. So again, we're talking that value. It fills a need. You get the value. They checked off their biggest three needs with their first, in their first three picks. So
yeah, I think it's a great fit for what they look for.
Yeah, I thought so too. Okay, now the Jets again on the clock. So we're gonna give them a tackle. We're gonna give them to help out. Last year they had the left tackle, so this year I gave them a guy that's projected to be a right tackle in Bernard Raymond from Central Michigan, the converted tight end. He feels a little Jets-like high potential. Maybe it's not there yet, but I think he can pair with the left tackle that they got. I think they got a left tackle last year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they did.
Yeah, so this would be the right tackle to give you your tackle pair. again, giving more help to Wilson. And so I thought that was the like a good spot for that guy being a right tackle instead of a left tackle and being kind of a high upside guy that a lot of people like.
Sure.
Okay, Chicago Bears. Got to give. Speaking of offensive linemen, this is what we need. We got Tyler. No, what do we say? Tyler Smith from Tulsa.
Yeah.
Tyler Smith from Tulsa. And I have a tendency to want to call him Travis, but his name's Tyler Smith from Tulsa. As I said in my Bears video, I love this kid's fit for Chicago. I think that he can play guard day one. We can put him next to our tackle from last year at the right side, have them pair up together, and then down the road, hopefully one of those guys ends up being a left tackle, the other one's the right tackle, and we got our tackles. But I think he can come in and play guard from day one, which is a huge hole that we need right now.
I love the pick, and I think it's good because one of the biggest things I noticed watching your guys' film was just how Justin Fields panics the second that pressure gets on him.
Yeah.
And I just think unless he's past that, which I don't think that he probably is at this moment in time, I think the best option you're going to have is to protect him as much as you can. So I definitely agree with you. That's a good pick.
Well, and the other thing, too, that I really like about this guy is that our GM Poles talks about he wants a little bit of nasty in his linemen. And I think next to the Northern Iowa guy, who I would love to get, but is not going to be available to us, this was like the next guy that they talked about. He likes to finish guys into the ground. He likes to, play to the whistle, to the echo of the whistle, maybe.
His personality is a good Bears fit.
So I think, I think it's a Bears fit, and it's what our GM's looking for. So I really love the fit, honestly.
I like it too.
All right, Seattle Seahawks. I think it's time to give them a quarterback. We're going with Matt Carroll from Mississippi.
Sure.
This feels like a Seahawks quarterback to me. Like, I think he can do stuff that Pete Carroll likes. I don't think they're related, but no. Sorry, that one didn't work. But yeah, I mean, I felt like best quarterback on the board. I don't think they're going to try to do one in the first round because, like we said before, they got a lot of holes. But I think this is a guy that maybe he's not ready to play day one, so it's nice that you have Locke, but you can develop him to eventually be your starting quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I think that's a decent pick here for sure. I mean, like you pointed out, they do have a lot of holes. It just depends on how much you believe in Matt Carroll as a potential starter. But if they do, yeah, sure. I could definitely see it being a pick here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can like you said before with them, maybe they wait till next year to get their quarterback. I don't know.
Yeah, it just depends on what you're looking at. Because if you're going, hey, there's no way we're going to win anyways, probably not go get a quarterback right now. But if you feel like that value's there, like you said, you've got him slipping, pretty decently.
A lot of people have him as a first-round pick.
That's right. I mean,
this is,
I mean, if a team even has other needs and looks at it and goes, man, I just can't pass on the opportunity to get a guy that could develop that well, then.
Which is basically what they did with Russell Wilson, right?
Oh, sure. I mean, that was.
So they thought they had their plan, and then Russell Wilson was there. They couldn't believe he was there, so they drafted him. So I feel like
it's
this
one of
could
the
be
best picks in football history.
It could be a spot where they go quarterback. It makes sense, and he was, at least according to what I have out there, is the best quarterback on the board at the time. At the time. And then they have the very next pick, so we'll give them a quarterback of the defense in Christian Harris from Alabama.
Sure.
As they start to retool their defense and get younger, Bobby Wagner replacement here.
Great.
So they're two big.
See, I like that a little bit better, I think, than the quarterback. But again, like you said, I mean,
we can flip the order if you want. If it makes you feel better, we'll have them take Harris first and then Carroll.
So, as a defensive minded guy, I say a defensive player should go first, then the quarterback. I mean, come on, Daimon, you're just slipping here.
My bad. Now it's time to take the first tight end off the board as the Indianapolis Colts pick. And I know you're going to love this one, Trey McBride from Colorado State.
Let it happen.
Now, this might not be the pick here because in reality, Trey McBride might go in the first round.
Yeah.
To
But I mean, you do go through all those guys. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. I mean, this is the reason why I kind of focused on him in this slot is because I went
Yeah.
like, to be honest with you, a lot of the other teams that need tight ends bad need other things as well. Do you know what I mean? And there's
Yeah.
just so much talent at the top of the board in those positions that it's like really though. I mean, maybe some of the wide receivers slip a little bit and somebody goes with the tight end over them, but I don't think when you go through that. I don't think it's a far stretch to believe
No.
that he could slip this far, and I believe we are the need.
And here's the thing too, Trey McBride I think is a great tight end. He's definitely the top tight end in this pick, in this year. Much like when we got Cole Kmet a couple years ago, he was the top tight end. Those guys, as good as they are, they're not on the level of most of these
They're not.
first round tight ends. This is not Kyle Pitts. This is not
No.
one of those guys that we've seen go in the first round. OJ Howard from Alabama a few years back. They don't have the tools that those guys had. So I think second round is better. It makes more sense. And like you said, I mean, probably by far your biggest team need and a great fit. We'll see if your GM makes you as happy as I did. Cause
I mean,
not
it's
sure.
a personal decision. I personally, again, as I mentioned in my video, find that to be the number one. I want it. I think that we haven't given our quarterbacks that position, and we need to do it, especially with Matt Ryan having that benefit. So, hey, I love your pick here, Damon.
I thought you might.
Yeah, I do.
All right, so Atlanta Falcons again on the clock. Tons of needs. So, yeah, this is a misprint on this paper because it's not correct. I don't know who I outsourced my organization to, but okay. So it's yeah. Sometimes when you ask for help, so it's Arnold Bekete. This says from USC. I know that's not where he's from. Is he from NC State? Maybe. He's an edge.
I'm sure we'll have something going there. I'll show you.
Look at the video or the screenshot that pops up that shows this kid's actual college.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
Not USC. But he's the next best edge on the thing according to what I had on the list. I think the Falcons could use more pass rush. They use everything. So we're giving a pass rusher here. I mean, now's the time you take a pass rusher, right? They're starting to thin out. So that's why I gave them to him here.
I mean, other than tight end, they pretty much need everything.
They pretty much need everything. All right, next on the clock, we got the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to give another edge off the board here. David Ajabo from Michigan.
Sure.
Great pair for...
I think he got overshadowed a little bit.
Well, so he's got some injury issues that I kind of let him slide because of.
Sure.
But they got to the point where it's like, okay, Cleveland needs a pairing. They need the Clowney replacement. I don't think Clowney's going back, is he?
I don't think he is.
It doesn't feel like he's going back. And I don't know that Clowney ended up being what they were hoping to have
Maybe he didn't fit
anyway.
exactly with what they were doing.
Yeah, so I think this could be a better fit.
They
Maybe.
have a few holes too, so I think that this is another example of I could totally see that because it does seem to make sense here. And just how many places are they going to go? On paper, they have so many good players. I mean, it's just like
right, agreed. Okay, Baltimore Ravens. I did another value pick here. I got Kenyon Green, the guard from Texas A&M. A lot of people have this guy with a first-round grade.
And you had him going defense at the beginning?
Yeah, the beginning of the draft, our first pick, I had him taking. Who did they take? Devontae Wyatt from Georgia.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I guess I could see them taking the guard. I could also see them going with wide receiver too as well. Even though they do have good wide receivers, I know they're trying to make Lawrence.
yeah, I mean, to me, like all I ever hear about is you got to give them weapons. You got to give them weapons. How many first and second round wide receivers are you going to draft before you realize the wide receivers aren't the issue?
Yeah, I guess that's a video for another time. We get into that, but
yeah, I mean, I like the kid, but
no, I agree with you.
You could have 8 really good wide receivers. He's not going to throw for 4,000 yards. It's just not who he is.
Yeah.
So that's why
it just wouldn't surprise me to see him do that.
No, I've seen that a lot. I've seen wide receivers a big thing for them. I looked at their depth chart and went,
yeah,
I'd rather have these wide receivers on the Bears than what we got. So I'm not giving them another one. I'm sorry. I don't think that the wide receivers are the problem.
Yeah, okay.
But that's just me.
Fair enough.
That's just me. Okay, Minnesota Vikings are next. big need at tight end for me. So I gave them Jelani Woods from Virginia.
Sure.
And I'm not liking my Vikings draft. Much like my Packers draft. I'm not liking my Packers draft. I don't like. I'm making these teams better, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
All right, we talked about this earlier. I talked to you about this earlier because it made me laugh when I did it. Washington's on the clock. I think they need offensive line help. And I feel like the mountain from Minnesota, Daniel Valele, just like this seems like a kind of guy that Snyder would love and tell his GM, I want that guy.
I mean,
Give me that guy. Give me
him.
the mountain from Minnesota.
I love him.
He just seems like the kind of guy that the commander of the Commanders would want.
Yeah, I mean, look, no argument. I think he's very talented and he's huge, man. Just a massive dude. I would want him. I think it's a good pick.
All right, so this next pick for the Bears back on the clock again. This one might be a little bit like your tight end, where maybe subconsciously I avoided this guy for a reason, and that is Travis Jones for UConn. I love this kid. I talk about in my video how he fills the need that our GM thought he was getting with his splash free agent. The only splash move he made in free agency was trying to get a penetrating defensive tackle. This guy can do that. He can run stuff. He's got a bit of nasty in him.
He is nasty.
He feels like a bear.
Yeah,
I love watching video of this kid. So solve some needs. At this point would be great value. And he looks and smells like a bear. I don't know what he actually smells like, but he looks like he would smell like a bear. So I love this kid. And if he does follow us here, I'm going to be so excited if we end up with this pick. So
I mean, it's a great pick.
Next up, I got the Saints back on the board, and I have them needing an offensive tackle, so I have them picking Nicholas Petit-Ferrer from Ohio State.
Okay. Yeah.
So what did I give them before? So we gave them a safety and a wide receiver, right? Yeah. Yeah. So those needs, I felt like the talent at that time was better for them, and they could hold off on the tackle, but then they really kind of had a pressing need at tackle, and this was the best one left at this point. So now Kansas City Chiefs, like I can't even believe that this guy's still on the board, and this just feels like a Chief player. We're gonna give Mahomes a toy. We're gonna give Sky Moore from Western Michigan as our Tyreek Hill replacement. So all the big names that they lost, that everybody was like they lost, I've replaced with rookies that do very similar things. It's amazing to me that the board draft fell that way, but that's what I did.
I definitely see Sky Moore as a fit in that position, and he might be the only true fit in that position in the whole draft. So yeah.
I mean, and it was surprising. I didn't save him for the Chiefs. It just kind of happened that way. And
I mean, I think it makes sense.
Okay, this next one, Philadelphia Eagles. This is one of my favorite players in the draft. I fell in love watching this guy's tape. He was so fun to watch. I think you would too. I actually would have liked to give him to the Colts, but I know you wanted to tight end more. And I don't think it's a need for the Colts as much as it is for the Eagles. Cornerback Tariq Woolen from UTSA. Big, tall, lanky corner. To me, he's the best player on the board at this point, but he's also kind of a project that could take a little bit of time to really reach that full potential. So I think that's a good kind of pick for the Eagles as they're going through their rebuild. They don't need a guy that's going to come in and max out right now.
Sure.
They have time to draft on potential, and this guy's high potential.
Yeah, I had him going a little further down the draft when I was kind of looking at it. But I think that you make a valid point with team fit and being a good fit for him as well, as far as being able to sit and learn a little bit before the expectations are too high. So yeah, I definitely could see that happening.
Next up, I got Pittsburgh Steelers, and we're doing another corner. We're giving them Jalen Armour-Davis from Alabama.
Sure.
So another
Again, I think
most people probably have him ahead of the other guy.
Exactly.
I just love the other guy's tape, and they were close, and I felt like the
Pittsburgh
Eagles
would
could
be more of a win now kind of a situation.
Yeah, and I felt like the Eagles could afford to kind of take that risk on the high upside pick.
Sure. I like it.
Green Bay. I don't know why. Another Green Bay player that I don't really want them to have. Hopefully they don't actually get this guy. Drake Jackson, the edge from USC.
Oh yeah.
Another edge in the really good edge. At this point, I mean, another guy who, like most people have a first round grade on, and I got Green Bay taking him at 53 with the value pick to terrorize my man Fields. Like you said, he'll be 10 yards away from Fields, and Fields will feel him and start getting nervous.
I do feel like it's a little bit of a drop for him. I would think that he would go earlier, but again, we've discussed this. He's just so much talent there. I do kind of feel like maybe, one of those other teams that I think he probably goes a little further, a little earlier than that. But I mean, he's good. He's really good. So
yeah, it was one of those things where it was just like,
where's the fit?
Yeah, I mean, I knew he was out there. I kept looking for the team to give him to, and this was the first one that it made sense. You know what? To be honest, maybe they take him instead of the double dip with the wide receivers. He probably goes in the first round.
Yeah, I do think he's a little lower than he probably.
Yeah, he'll probably get picked by them in the first round instead of. But
I can see that.
But I gave him the 2 wide receivers.
Sure.
Because I like to make Aaron Rodgers happy. Maybe they get him in the first round and a wide receiver here. Who knows?
He wouldn't hold out for money with you, Damon. You would be the GM that he would be like, man, I'm going to cut him a hometown discount because he keeps giving me these guys.
I mean, Aaron would love me. But I would trade him to the Bears for draft picks. See what Love had. Soon as he started that drama,
you're gone.
You're going to Chicago. I'm going to draft nothing but pass rushers for the next 4 years and make your life crazy. Have fun. No, the Lions. I would trade him to the Lions. Okay, let's go with the next pick in this draft. New England Patriots. You know what we're doing here is we're going to give my man that I love, Mac Jones, another one of his favorite targets in John Mechie from Alabama.
Yeah, I think that's a great fit.
So last year he got an Alabama target.
He's so good too.
This year he gets an Alabama target. And
I think it makes sense from even a Patriots pick standpoint.
He's a great compliment.
I kind of find this to be one of the best picks that you've had in this draft as far as almost a slam dunk. Like it seems like it's a match made in heaven.
It's a perfect fit. Yeah, perfect fit. How about this one? This is one of my favorite picks of this whole draft. And again, I cannot believe that I didn't. And I was looking for a place and couldn't find one. Arizona Cardinals, Breece Hall from Iowa State.
Oh yeah.
Like a team that needs a stud running back. They have okay running backs. Connor James. Breece Hall. Connor James can be a good complement to Breece Hall. But Breece Hall will be a stud running back.
Yeah, and this is a good place for the first running back to go.
And you got value there. Right? I mean, at this point, that's a value pick for them.
Oh, yeah.
So I was looking for places for him because I love this kid. I think he's a fantastic running back, and that's a great fit, and he's going to have a lot of fun there. Next up, we got Dallas Cowboys. Again, with the offensive line, I feel like that's where they need to improve that offensive line. So I have them taking Abraham Lucas from Washington State.
Sure.
They like to throw the ball. He's probably the best pass. He comes from a pass-happy offense, so that's what he does well. The knock on him is rushing. So I felt like.
Did you don't have that? You didn't have him taking a wide receiver yet. Right. I mean, this is.
No, I don't have him taking a wide receiver yet. There's wide receivers in this draft. There's wide receivers in this draft. Hey, it's not going to do. They don't need a wide receiver if Dak is hurt.
I get what you're saying, but they also lost. I think they're a little thin there at wide receiver.
They got Michael Gallup to be their number one, who they wanted to have to be their number one.
Sure, great wide receiver.
And they got. There's weapons. There's more wide receivers in this draft.
I see them taking a wide receiver here, but I could understand your viewpoints on it.
They got to replace. They lost the tackle. They lost to Lily Collins.
Yeah.
And
I agree with you on the first pick.
And after this, there's not going to be There's not going to be another tackle of this caliber in the rest of this draft. That's my thought.
Okay.
So, anyway. Buffalo Bills. Okay. BPA, you ready? BPA here. Kenneth Walker from Michigan State. Home run hitter. Give him a guy that can run between the tackles to complement Singletary, who's more of the, in the flat. So I wanted a between the tackles, red zone guy. That guy loves the end zone. He sniffs it out. He fights for it.
I will say that is a little bit of a weakness there too. You're right. I think I like Singletary a lot. I like what he brings to the versatility at the position. But I think you're right. I think as far as a straight home run hitter, he's not that, and I think that would be a great compliment. I think that would be good. That's a great. I mean, like, I like it because it's just such.
It's a 1-2 punch,
and
right?
it just adds that upgrade at a team that's just knocking on the door of winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think this gives them a better red zone option.
Agreed.
To get the difference between field goals and touchdowns.
And take a little bit of pressure off your guy who's out there just killing it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's killing it, but at the same time, like, you gotta have a little help out there. So I like it. I like it a lot, David.
All right, Atlanta Falcons, team of many needs. We're gonna give him a hometown boy with a lot of upside, George Pickens from Georgia.
Sure.
Got to replace Kelvin Ridley, who's out for the year.
I actually like this pick a lot too, and again, I think you're right with the hometown. Which, to be honest with you, Atlanta has shown that they like the community and they like to stick to that Georgia style and stuff like that. So I love the pick. I think that that's a good pick as well. Give my boy Mariota some success. Oh wait, no, we went with didn't they get a quarterback?
Yeah, I gave him a quarterback.
Yeah. Well, then never mind with Mariota.
I gave him a quarterback when they'll probably draft a wide receiver instead of Pickens, and then maybe they'll pick the quarterback here. Anyway, Green Bay again. Like, how many times is Green Bay going to get to add a quality player?
Getting their picks.
We're helping Rodgers some more. We're going to give him Darian Kinnard from Kentucky to give him another a good offensive lineman to help keep him from crying, because nobody cries like Rodgers when he gets hit.
No, and I think it's good here. I think that's good value there. I do agree with you. I think it's smart to go out and get weapons for him early and then give him a little bit of help in the protection. Sure, I like it. I think it's a good one.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At this point, again, I think it's kind of BPA a little bit. This is a guy who I think the Bears might actually get instead of Jones at this spot, and that is Perrion Winfrey from Oklahoma. This is kind of a Dominican Sue replacement, if you will, like gap penetrator on the inside, that can do, like, he's a hoss in the middle.
Sure.
So I think that is a sort of need, maybe not a huge need, but they don't have huge needs. So so the talented player at this point that I really like, and so that's this is another guy that could probably go in the first round, but here it is, almost the end of the second, and he's getting drafted. So, and then I got another one with the next pick, San Francisco 49ers, DeMarvin Leal from Texas A&M. This is the Buckner replacement that I think they thought they were getting, but didn't really pan out. The way that he wasn't quite the penetrator that Buckner was. He was more of a traditional defensive tackle. So we're going to give him this guy who is that penetrator that Buckner is to pair next to him. So now you got their pair inside to really re-solidify that defense and create havoc in a conference where you better create havoc, because there's outside of the Seahawks, there's quarterbacks in that division that you need to make uncomfortable. So he will do that.
Sure.
Kansas City, this was a hard pick for me. I had given them pretty much everything I thought they needed already with those other picks that we talked about that just kind of matched up with what they lost. I wasn't sure what to give them exactly, so I went with a high upside guy, Troy Anderson, linebacker from Montana State. Great athlete. Spagnuolo loves to have athletic guys that he can do multiple things with. I feel like this guy can be a middle linebacker, can be an outside linebacker, can give you a blitzer, which we know that Spagnuolo likes to blitz. So
I like the pick.
Yeah, I thought that was a good. It's a little bit of a reach almost, because most people have him going in the third round instead of the second. But I just felt like what I was looking at, he made sense here.
Yeah, I mean, and you're talking late second, so it's not that much of a reach.
And they've already had some really good draft picks in this draft. So, Cincinnati Bengals. We're going to give them a offensive lineman. I think they did repair their offensive line, but some of those guys are long in the tooth. So we're going to give them some depth, some youth that can grow into the position. We're going to give them Sean Ryan from UCLA, who, from what I've seen, could be a tackle, could be a guard, has some flexibility. So I thought that would be a good swing tackle, backup guard that can grow as the guys that they brought in
Yeah, I think
age out.
it's a good fit for exactly what you're saying. If you're talking about him stepping in and having to kind of contribute right away, probably not. But as you pointed out, I mean, you're talking about somebody long term, just looking to learn from the veterans, and I think that's a good place for him as far as. I think a lot of teams might pass on him this early, maybe a little bit further down. But yeah, I can see what you're saying with the fit.
With the Broncos, we went Martin Emerson, Mississippi State corner.
Yeah.
This is a Vic Fangio corner right here. Is Vic Fangio still at the Broncos? He got fired, didn't he? Never mind. It is a Vic Fangio corner though, so he'll fit that defense well.
I mean, Patrick Surtain was unbelievable last year. So, yeah, I mean, you match him up with another young guy. They already have, the wide receivers looking good.
And this is
that defense is definitely needed in that division.
You need as many good corners as you can get in the West,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
Right, so. All right. Detroit Lions. We're going a little bit BPA here, I think. Maybe it's sort of team need, but more BPA. Logan Hall from Houston. Give him a pass rusher. He's kind of a hybrid guy that can maybe play end, maybe play defensive tackle. Get some pressure on the quarterback. So, like what we talked about in that, with Rodgers, you got to have people that can bring pressure. So I'm giving the Lions a pass. I mean, they're one of those teams. It was kind of BPA because they
have a lot of holes.
They could use BPA. They could just use the best players they can get.
Yep.
So,
next they'll never pan out, by the way.
Well, that was the other reason why I like Logan Hall, because he's kind of a tweener. That felt like a Lions pick, like a really athletic tweener that you don't really know for sure what he is, but he's super athletic.
He'll never reach his potential until he leaves.
That's right. That's right. Because somebody else will figure out what he should have been.
Yeah.
They'll play him in the wrong position. Somebody else will figure out what he should be. That just felt like a
Lion.
Lion.
Sorry if Lions fans are watching.
I'm not sorry. That's what you get for being a Lions fan. All right, next up, the New York Giants, who've already had a lot of picks in this draft. Another need that I felt like they had, and this is the right time to address it, Greg Dulcich, tight end from UCLA.
Sure.
Best tight end left on the board. Can block. We know they're going to run. Gives them, but he can also catch.
I like him. I think he's a
great target for Jones. All right, now here we go. This is why. This pick right here, Houston Texans. This is why I gave them everybody else that I gave them. Because you want to give them a wide receiver. And I said there'll be wide receivers later. Here's their wide receiver. Alec Pierce from Cincinnati.
Oh, you're killing me.
I know I killed you, but this is why I waited.
You're killing me.
Because they got a talent. They filled all those other holes that they need with really good players, and they still got a really good wide receiver early in the third round.
I like him a lot, and I don't want him going there, but I like him a lot. I think he's a very talented player. Very talented player.
Yeah.
I don't really want him going to Houston. I'd like to not.
But that's another good reason for me to have him go to Houston.
And he probably will, to be honest with you. I mean, it makes sense. So. And I think you're right. I mean, I think as long as he's available here at this pick, if they ignored wide receiver all the way to this point, then yeah, this is probably the pick for them.
Yeah. Because I mean, they had like 4 big needs from what I saw. This is the 4th one. We filled all 4 of their biggest needs. I mean, they have lots of needs, but they're like really glaring needs.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are glaring needs.
And so so they got what they needed. So anyway, I'm sorry. This next pick, I don't know if this was a need or if I just went BPA here. I'm kind of looking back. It's the Jets. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this makes sense to me. So I gave them Cameron Thomas, edge rusher from San Diego State.
Sure.
So we gave him the Georgia guy in the first round. This gives him another edge rusher. Really get that pass rush working.
I mean,
Especially when you pair it with some of the other guys they already have.
I mean, really, when you think about this team, could really change a lot with a draft like this. I mean, like the things that you're addressing and talking about, when you compare it with what they added in the offseason, man.
Yeah, so I gave him a couple of pressure guys that can provide pressure, an offensive lineman that pairs with the lineman from last year, and a wide receiver option, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of like what we said with what was the other quarterback? Like, we're going to find out about Wilson.
Yeah.
This is going to help us find out about Wilson. Is
like
he
Tua.
Yeah, Tua. There's a couple of these guys where
You've given them the tools.
Giving them what they need, and we're going to find out, can you play or not? Okay. Next up, Jacksonville Jaguars. I gave them a corner, who I believe they like to do man coverage. I felt like this was the best man coverage corner still available. Alontae Taylor from Tennessee.
Okay. I don't know much about him, actually, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't either. I just have him on my draft board. I don't really know too much about him either, to be honest.
I
I don't look for man because I didn't study the man coverage guys.
That makes sense.
We do zone. We do zone, so I didn't care.
Yeah, I'm like he wasn't on my radar either, but I guess I could kind of see that a little bit.
He was on the board the way I had the research I did.
Well, good. I don't know who he is, so perfect for Jacksonville. I hope that they get him. I wouldn't be excited or disappointed if I.
There you go. Okay, speaking of excited, Chicago Bears. Another one of my favorite players in this draft. It's funny how many of my favorite players.
Right there.
It's crazy how this worked.
If I did one, it'd be the same.
Leo Chenal from Wisconsin. This dude is a bear. This dude is a monster. He would be a monster of the Midway. Hits people, fast, nasty, has great instincts in the run game, which, as you know, the way your old coach likes to coach, he wants to turn those front four on the pass rush and let the linebackers clean up the running game for him. And this guy will help. But the combination of him and Smith together, sitting back, this is what made your guy Leonard one of the top linebackers in the country, in the pros, because he could just sit back and clean up with that speed. This is what this guy has. We put him at Sam. We leave Smith to be the quarterback of the defense at Mike. I talked about this in another video. A lot of people want to move Smith to the Sam and let him be the Leonard role, which makes sense because he has the athletic talent. I like doing this because now you got both. You got a couple of nasty linebackers, and I don't know, Chicago Bears fans, do we like it when we have multiple nasty linebackers? I feel like that's always been our recipes for success.
Calling card.
So let's do that. Let's just do that.
And I think you're absolutely correct. He definitely just screams bear. He's a bear.
Yeah. So at this point, I know anybody that didn't watch my other video and didn't know where I was going with this because my other video already said all this stuff, they're going, Bears need wide receivers. Why did you not take a wide receiver? We'll worry about that later.
Linebackers.
This is the Monsters of the Midway. Did you really think we hired a defensive coach to go 4 wide and chuck the ball all over the field?
Look at the team he came from.
Come on. Anyway, I love this pick. Love this pick. All right, next up, Seattle Seahawks. Cam Taylor-Britt, cornerback from Nebraska.
Okay.
This guy I felt like is a Richard Sherman-like type corner.
Okay.
Little, like, big, can hit, plays zone coverage, which was what Sherman always did for the Seahawks. So I think he could fit in, kind of help them bring that defense back to what it used to be. So I like the fit there. By the way, he was one of the guys that I looked at for the Bears too. So kind of like him from that standpoint. I knew he would be a good zone read kind of guy because of the research that helps in the running game, because I did a lot of research for him for the Bears. If I would have gone corner in this round, he probably would have been the guy. Indianapolis Colts, you're going to love this one. Calvin Austin.
Yep.
Perfect compliment to Michael Pittman in my mind. Gives Matt Ryan a speed guy to throw down the field to. Let's see, has he ever had a history of throwing down the field to speed guys?
Yes.
I feel like that might be the Matt Ryan kind of thing to do. Yes. And I don't think that you guys really have a reliable guy like that.
No,
so this would fill a need just as much as that tight end filled the need in the previous round.
Well, I don't know if we're on the same page because I had mentioned to you that I would like him, but
Did we? Is that a myth? Oh, this is a guy you liked, and I did it again.
Yes.
Man, it's weird how that happens.
Yes.
No, I honestly though, this like
He's such a good fit for our team.
this fits the team. I wanted to give you this one just because, but it fits the team the same way the tight end did. To me, this gives Matt Ryan what he needs to succeed. Your guys' defense is ridiculous.
Yeah.
They need to improve on offense.
Absolutely.
You lost games last year because of your offense, not because of your defense. Your defense already got better. So, I mean, you already brought in a pass rusher and a corner to the defense. Give Matt Ryan some weapons. This gives him two really good ones. And I think gives you the chance to be competitive in an insanely competitive AFC.
Loving your picks for my Colts, bud.
All right, Atlanta Falcons. This is a guy I actually probably would have loved to have on the Bears if I wasn't so in love with Leo Chenal. I actually had this guy above Leo Chenal on the draft board, but I gave him Chad Muma, linebacker from Wyoming.
No, I think that's a great pick there. Yeah.
So
I mean, like you said, it's a team that needs a lot of stuff. I mean, Chad Muma would be good there.
Yeah. I really wanted to kind of give him to the Bears and say, hey, this is the Brian Urlacher 2.0. But for one, we have Roshan Smith to fill that role, and I just like Chenal a little bit better. But he would have been, if Chenal wasn't there, I would pick Muma for the Bears here. Muma, by the way, probably second rounder, and the Falcons are getting him here in the third round. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. Theme of this draft so far. All right, next up, Denver Broncos. I'm giving them, because they're going to have to score some points, I'm going to give them a home run hitter, James Cook from Georgia. I can't remember who their running back is, but he's an okay running back, but he doesn't have the home run hitting ability that James Cook has.
Sure. I agree with you.
And so I think that that's something they're going to need to, you're going to have to light up the scoreboard in the AFC West. So this guy can help you light up the scoreboard. And I thought at this point, it's a great value for him. I think he's a guy that 10 years ago would have been a first-round draft pick, probably. As the running back has been declined, he has to, Plus, not to mention, Georgia likes to do 2 or 3 running backs. The Georgia running backs typically have a lot of tread left on their tires.
Absolutely.
So, so this guy could be the guy in Denver for a while. It's not like your normal, we get 4 or 5 years out of him and then we're moving on. He could be the guy there for a while because he's got a lot of tread left on the tires, I think.
I like it.
Baltimore Ravens. This was kind of BPA, kind of another one of those, just the Ravens being the Ravens. I gave him Nick Benito from Oklahoma as a pin back your ears and go get the quarterback guy.
Mm-hmm. He seems very Ravenish.
Yeah, he felt like a Raven player. He was at a point where I was like, this guy should have went well before now, but I just didn't find a place for him yet, and so this is where he goes.
I can see it.
Minnesota Vikings. I had one need left for them, and that was interior lineman. So I gave them Jamie Saylor, the Georgia guard. He's a tackle. I think he played tackle for Georgia, but they're expecting him to kick in the guard, I think. Cleveland Browns. Here we go. Yet again. Filled all of their needs. You were talking about a wide receiver. I gave them a receiver that I love in this draft. Jalen Tolbert from South Alabama. I think he has potential. Number one. His floor is number 2 to me. He has the potential to be a number 1 wide receiver. So I think that's again, this is kind of what I did with a lot of these teams that need receivers, but maybe didn't need a number 1. I felt like, okay, you can wait. You can find a guy later. Let's fill those other needs first. So that's what I did with Cleveland as well as several other teams. And here you go. Really good wide receiver at the end of the third round.
So much great value here.
There really is. The Rams, first pick. Super Bowl champs, first pick. They don't need anything. They're going to bring in somebody under the age of 30, just to get breakfast for everybody. They need somebody to bring the donuts to practice. I'm giving them BPA.
Because whatever.
I'm giving them Brandon Smith, linebacker from Penn State.
Okay, I could definitely see it.
I figure you got to get younger in that linebacker core. You got a lot of long in the tooth on the defense, so there's got to be somebody
There's
there.
really a lot of long in the tooth everywhere over there.
Yeah.
Good value, or good players at that long in the tooth, but
yeah. So I figure, you go with the linebacker, you give him some youth. He can play special teams while he's waiting for his turn to play.
Sure.
Made sense to me.
I don't mind it. You could have said anybody right there, and I'd have been like, sure. You could have said Carson Strong. I'd have been like, yeah, I can see that.
Oh, that's pretty funny. Okay, here we go. We got Houston again. Your boys, Houston. I got them on the clock again. Going lineman. We got to build a wall before we find it to see if Davis Mills is the guy. You got to keep him upright. Let him find out if he can play.
Or to prepare for the next guy.
Or have a line set and ready for the guy that they really bring in. Yes, accurate. So I gave him Ed Ingram, guard, interior lineman for the LSU.
Yeah. Again, crazy that they slipped this far, but it's just like you said, I mean, there's so much talent. But I think that he is a very talented lineman, and in most drafts probably would have gone a little bit higher. But
yeah, I mean that's the thing though. It's like, it's hard for me to find a place where he would have went instead of some of these other guys. So, all right, with the Giants, we're going to give Jones another weapon. We're going to give him Wayndale Robinson from Kentucky.
Oof.
Nice little big play potential guy. Felt like
and I think you're exactly right, man. Get Daniel Jones in that position as well, like Tua and all them, where it's like, hey man, we've given you everything. Let's see what you can do.
Yeah, so I gave him a tight end earlier. I think we gave him offensive line help again. Now we're giving him the.
And I think that's right. I think
wide
that's
receiver.
Exactly what they should be looking at in this draft.
Yeah. The Falcons, I gave them a Zach Carter. He's a 4. They run a 3-4. He's a 3-4 defensive end guy from Florida.
Honestly, don't know much about him.
So yeah, he's like well, he is what he is. He's like a defensive tackle / defensive end in a 3-4 kind of thing, like a 5-tech guy. So
just team
fit, defensive fit, BPA kind of.
Sure.
Because it's the Falcons. I mean, they had a long list of needs. One of them was this position, and he was easily the best available at that position. So it was like if they don't get him now, scheme fit kind of guy. The next guy that fit the scheme wasn't going to be until like 5th, 6th round. So I was like, grab him, fit him in there. Seems like a good spot. The Eagles, I'm liking the Eagles. What I did for the Eagles here too, I'm giving them another guy that I really like a lot. I think has a high upside. Kind of surprised he was still here. Channing Tindall from Georgia, linebacker.
Okay.
So, Eagles defense.
You got a lot of linebackers going off the board here at these spots. I like that. I think it's a good range. I think it's
right,
good, especially for what's available right there.
Sure. Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm giving them a somewhat local guy, offensive tackle Rasheed Walker from Penn State.
I like it. Again, I feel like you haven't addressed the safety with them at this point in time. I don't know who's available in your draft.
So the safety was the one. Okay, yeah.
I just feel like that would be... I feel like...
Okay, you know what we're going to do? I know exactly where I messed up. Because I had safeties. This is what you pointed out last time. That they should have had a safety. I'm going to do a quick little change. Because this guy doesn't belong where I drafted him. I'm going to give him Lewis Sign from Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
He was I was like, there's no way this guy's
I was looking
on the
at for
board.
myself, too, at a point like that. I decided not to write him down. But, yeah, good safety. And I think he fits definitely what Pittsburgh does.
Yeah.
I think that's a great fit. I think that's a great one right there.
Okay, and then we're just going to give this guy to the team that drafted him because that'll work, too.
Okay.
New England Patriots. I gave him a corner. Like Belichick doesn't like to get corners early. I think corners a need for them, especially losing Gilmore. But he doesn't like to take corners early.
Gilmore was in Carolina last year.
Well, they traded him halfway through the season.
Okay.
They didn't find a replacement for him yet. So
he's on the Colts now.
He's on the Colts now. He was in Carolina.
I had to fit
they got rid of him because they didn't want to pay him because Belichick doesn't pay corners.
We did.
and so he also doesn't like to draft corners early. So here's the corner that he's going to get this guy mid-round pick, possibly some good value here. Akalib Evans. This is from Missouri, is that right? Is he from Missouri? I thought he was from a different school.
I can't remember.
Okay, again, there should be a little thing that pops up that tells you exactly what team Akalib Evans is on. Could be Missouri, but for some reason I'm not thinking that's right. I think this is a typo. All right, moving on. Another typo. You can tell the people I had helping me got tired right here because I know this isn't right. I got the Raiders taking the offensive tackle. This says Chad Mitchell from Louisiana, but it's not Chad Mitchell. It's something else Mitchell. It's not Chad Mitchell.
Sure
Mitchell from Louisiana. Show Mitchell. Arizona Cardinals. All right, we're gonna finally get our. We're gonna give the Cardinals their replacement for the massively overpaid Christian Kirk. We're gonna give them Khalil Shakir from Boise.
Oh, I think that's a great fit. That's a great fit. That's a good replacement for him.
It's Christian. It's a very Christian Kirk-like skill set.
Just without the millions and billions.
Saving a lot of money.
I can't believe you got paid that much.
Okay, another one of my favorite players in the draft. We're going to give the Dallas Cowboys Kobe Bryant from Cincinnati.
Kobe Bryant?
That's his name, Kobe Bryant from Cincinnati.
Okay.
He's the other Cincinnati corner besides Sauce. The kid can play.
Listen, if they were on Cincinnati, it seems like they could play.
Yeah. All right, Buffalo Bills. Best player available again. We're going to give him Cole Strange from Chattanooga.
This is California. Yeah, I mean, this is a guy that I would like to be in consideration for the Colts if they were to pick around this area and pick a tackle. I agree with you. I think that he's a good player. He's a really good player.
So this gives Buffalo depth of that line, so that as their other guys age out of where they can't pay them because they're paying Josh Allen $50 million a year, which is coming soon.
We're worth it.
They're going to need a young offensive lineman to take the place of the guard that they can't pay.
I like the pick, and they're just in that great position where it's like they can do whatever they want. They can think about the future. So
that's what exactly.
And agreed. Exactly. I definitely think he is, again, like we said before with some of these other players, a guy who might not necessarily step in and be ready to play day one, but to have the advantage of sitting back and his talent level is there. If he can kind of get that going, it's going to be great.
Yeah, if they can groom him into being the kind of talent that a first round pick normally would be. They get him here because of their position, because they can take that gamble.
Yeah.
And it just makes so much sense.
I think it does well.
All right, Tennessee Titans. The Titans have one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, big play hitter, but they need a possession receiver to pair with them.
Sure.
So we're going to go to our home state of Indiana and grab them David Bell from Purdue.
Yeah.
I think a great compliment. See, a lot of people don't know what to think about.
Yeah, he's all over the place with his grade.
He catches the football. He might not be fast, but to me, you put him on this team where Tannehill likes to have that safety valve, and you got the big play guy already in place with Brown, and he can just kind of find holes in the zone that is created by Brown's speed and big play capability, make the safe catch. He doesn't have to turn. You don't need him in this offense to turn the 10-yard first down into a 50-yard touchdown. You just need him to get the first down. That's how they play. They grind out the clock. I think this is a great fit for his skill set where people are having a hard time finding the fit. I thought this was a great fit.
Yeah, and I agree with you on David Bell. It's kind of hard even for myself to look at him and say, hey, he was somebody that offered for the Colts. He does seem almost like a little bit of a lesser talented Michael Pittman. He's got a lot of that same skill set going there. So I did kind of, even though I had considered him for us, I thought like, man, you know what? It's right. He's not necessarily a good fit for us scheme wise, or at least what we're looking to do to add. But I agree. I think he is absolutely a fit for Tennessee, and they got a burner already. They don't need.
Yeah, I mean, they've kind of showed, like, especially with Tannehill not having the biggest arm in the world.
That's right.
Like,
you one of them guys.
You can't have two burners. They've tried the two burner thing. It didn't work with, I can't remember the other young wide receiver they had that didn't work out. Then they bring in Julio Jones, that doesn't work out. So instead of trying the two burner thing when you have a guy that can't even throw the ball downfield, I think this would be a much better fit in that offense.
I totally agree with you. I hope that it doesn't happen because it'll improve.
Well, this is another one of those where I'm giving a player that I know you like to a team in your division.
What are you gonna do?
It wasn't on purpose. It just made sense.
It does make sense, unfortunately.
All right, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Brady needs a new Gronk, so I gave him Charlie Kohler.
Sure.
I think Charlie Kohler is very Gronk-like. Lots of muscles. Maybe not as good of a blocker as Gronk, but he's big catch radius.
Got that skill set. Can
run down the field and give Brady, what he won't be getting because if Gronk does decide at the last minute to play again, then Charlie Kohler can learn from him for a year.
Next up.
Yeah, he can learn from Gronk.
I like it.
They can go party together. It'll be fun. All right, now this is I hate this right here. I hate this right here. Green Bay Packers. I had a player that just BPA I could not resist, and I think that they could use this guy because I don't like who they have in this position. Jaquan Brisker from Penn State.
Okay.
They have Adrian Amos, who they got from us, who I think is an okay safety, but this would be a big upgrade over him.
Yeah, he's another guy I was looking at for us too, and I think you're right. I think he's very talented even to be getting here at this stage.
I don't think he'll last this long. But I couldn't find a place. It was like the safeties. I didn't find places for him. A lot of people already have safeties.
Which I kind of hope that some of these people do slip. So in the fourth round, we can go after a safety.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not the safety that I want in the fourth round. But if he's available in the fourth round for us, boy, that would definitely be somebody I'd be liking to get. So.
Sure. Okay, next up I got San Francisco. This is young quarterback in San Francisco, so I feel like they need to make sure they got a good line. So I gave them Cam Jerkins from Nebraska, center guard. I don't know what they need more between center and guard, but I figured give them a young.
They definitely have some line issues.
Yeah, that's one of the issues. So I'll give them a good young. If they need a center, he can play center. If they need a guard, he can play guard. He can do either way. So and I think a pretty good value at this point in the third round.
Sure.
Okay, so Kansas City is who I had Lewis Sign going to. So instead, we're going to give them more offensive line help like we did previously, and we'll give them the tackle from Penn State that was going to Pittsburgh, but now I got going here.
I think it actually makes more sense there, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, they didn't need another safety, but so I gave him Lewis Sign. I actually thought it was kind of funny because it was like he was the best player available, and then I'd already given him another safety and a corner.
I think was a really good fit too.
Yeah. So this was just another weapon for Spagnuolo to play with another hitter that can cover on the ground.
I think switching those two.
But it makes a lot of sense. It does. I do feel like it's better that way. I really do. All right, Cincinnati Bengals. One of the things that happened to the Bengals in the Super Bowl was that they had their tight end hurt, and I felt like that really affected the passing game. He didn't have that underneath safety valve. So we're going to give him a tight end. We're going to give him Isaiah Likely from Coastal Carolina.
Another guy I looked at for us.
Great receiving weapon. I think that it fits for the kind of offense that like he did at LSU. It fits with having all those targets out there. Guy that can hit the middle of the field with speed, with size, and then just gives him one more weapon to play with. So that's why I went with him. And plus, this is around the time for these tight ends to start getting drafted.
So I think that's a great pick for him there, and I agree. I think the tight end is something that they absolutely need to fill that hole with the loss of Usamazada.
Yeah, I don't know how to say his name, which is why I didn't try.
He was he's a good tight end, and it was they lost him, and I think that you have to replace that.
All right, next up, we got the Denver Broncos, another team that I feel like needs a tight end. They gave theirs away in the trade to bring in Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson in the past has liked to use tight ends, so we're going to give them Jeremy Ruckert from Ohio State.
Also, great places for these guys to go.
Detroit Lions, a player I like, so I didn't really want to give them to him, but they got needs on the defense, so I gave him Daimon Clark from LSU.
Sure.
So he's really athletic, kind of fits with what we said about them before. They like those athletic guys that can move around, and I think they could use a middle linebacker. He can fill that role. He can also kick outside if they decide to do that with him. He's a good blitzer, so gets pressure on, like everybody else in that division. We're just trying to get as much pressure on Aaron Rodgers as we can. So I think that's
what you need.
He would help do that. Okay, New Orleans Saints. This was a kind of a BPA. It might be a need for them, but more I just thought it was a BPA because this guy probably will go in the second round. But Dorian Mathis, defensive lineman from Alabama, pass rusher, can cause some havoc. I think that he's kind of at this stage he's worth it. He's kind of a guy where a lot of the experts he can. The thing with him, he has the body to be an every down defensive lineman, but his skill set is just going after the passer at the moment. He's not as good against the run, from what I'm hearing. So he kind of needs to grow into that. But I think, with the Saints and their position where they are, they can have a guy that can grow. In the short term, he'll give pressure, but he might be a guy where you don't have him out there on first down. You bring him out on third down as a interior pass rushing specialist. He's a guy I'd love to have from the Bears if we don't. He's another one that would fit that skill set, like the DeForest Buckner kind of thing, where you're in the middle of the line putting pressure on the quarterback. So,
cool.
So gave him to the Saints. It was more of a BPA than anything.
Which they're in that position.
Cleveland Browns. We're going to give Watson some more protection. We're going to give them a interior offensive lineman, Luke Fortner from Kentucky.
I think it's a great fit.
Baltimore Ravens. I'm giving them a corner that I felt like was a scheme fit, and also one of my favorite young corners out there. The Sam Houston State Zion McCollum, big tall corner, big wingspan. Feels like the kind of corner the Ravens like.
I definitely think that's a good fit with the Ravens as well.
Yeah. All right, now this one was almost like, I can't believe this actually happened. It made total sense once I saw it to me. Philadelphia Eagles, Sam Howell from North Carolina.
I guess, yeah, I mean.
So he's a boomer bust type quarterback, right? They're not sure if they like theirs.
So you think a little competition there?
I think give him competition.
That didn't go well for him last time they did that.
What was the other way around?
Okay, I guess, yeah.
Hurts is used to this. It happens to him everywhere he's gone.
That's true.
And they clearly aren't sold on Hurts.
I mean, why would you be?
And I think Sam Howell's a guy that, he could go in the first round.
Yeah.
So to get him in the third, it's worth a try.
Okay.
Maybe you get a first round talent and a third round pick.
I like Carson Strong more, but I guess I could see that. Especially for the Eagles, I could see him being a better fit for what they do than Carson Strong, that's for sure. So.
Yeah, I feel like he's from that spread. Like the offense they ran at North Carolina is similar to that. More similar anyway than what Carson Strong was doing out in Nevada.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a good fit.
I don't hate it.
Dolphins, just gave them an athlete. I gave him Kyron Johnson from Kansas.
Sure.
An athlete that can run fast and put pressure on the quarterback. And
yeah, I mean, other than quarterback, I don't know what their needs
felt
are.
like a Dolphins pick.
Like, I'm just saying.
Felt like a good, let's just give them more. He's at the very least he'll be a special teamer that'll wreak some havoc for him.
Yeah.
And then he'll find a role in the defense. I think it fits. BPA. Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, come on. Why do they have so many picks?
I don't know.
Like, how are they so good? They still have all these picks. Like, what happened here? I gave them offensive tackle. Well, mostly just offensive lineman. This guy can go up and down the line. Zach Tom from Wake Forest.
And that's a great pick.
So much like their previous pick where I gave him another offensive lineman.
He's one of those people that I see as a diamond in the rough, too, where it's like he's kind of being overshadowed a little bit, but I think he's better than people are giving him credit for.
Yeah. So it's kind of like what I did with the other one. Like, this gives you depth at the line. If they have injuries, you don't have to worry about Mahomes because he's got some quality guys to come in. And then down the road, they can let these other guys walk and move in these young guys into their spot. Much like what I said with Cincinnati, when you're paying quarterbacks big money, you got to be able to replace these linemen. Or Buffalo was another one. Like, we're doing this with all these guys. To me, we're loading up the line because they don't need anything else. So why not take linemen? Okay, the Rams. It's funny. I almost double dipped with the Rams on this. Man, I wasn't thinking about what I gave them previously when I did this pick. I just went BPA. I gave them Brian Osama from Oklahoma, who, pass rusher, can wreak some havoc. Got a little bit of that. Who was that from Denver? That was
Von Miller.
A little bit of Von Miller vibe to him, where you can just get after the guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, you're talking about a team that could go any direction really here and just add talent to their team.
But there's no end to the need
That's
for
right.
putting pressure on the quarterback.
I totally agree. I think that's a great fit, to be honest with you. I think that's a great fit.
And then the last pick in the third round, San Francisco 49ers, I gave them Damari Mathis, cornerback from Pittsburgh. Just give him the corner. I think it was a team need from what I saw. He was the BPA corner at the time. Don't know a whole lot about him, to be honest. Just seemed to make I saw a corner. I saw a corner from team need. Somebody out there in the interwebs thinks that corner is a team need, and somebody out there in the interwebs thinks that Damari Mathis was the next best corner after the other ones that I had drafted. So there you go. That's that for my mock. I hope that when you're watching this, you're thinking, "Hey, I love what my team got." I personally felt like there was value all over these three rounds. Yeah. I wish my Bears were like the Chiefs and had like 8 picks in the first 100. I don't know how they did it.
They're just gonna get better.
Like, we could use that many picks. They don't need them. I don't know why they got them, but I had a lot of fun doing this. It was a lot of hard work. Thank you to my wife and daughter for helping, despite the spelling errors. I still really appreciate it. Thank you for kind of chiming in on what I did. It was fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope that the regular draft goes something like this.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with what I got in your draft because that pretty much lines up with what I wanted in my draft too. I don't know if I am going to do a mock draft. If I do, we'll see you, and I hope you can view us on that one. I'm not quite sure I'm going to. This was fun enough. So thank you for giving us a watch. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe if you like the content and you got anything out of it. And we look forward to seeing you again in the future.